Over the past year, I've been integrally involved in treating COVID-19 patients in the ICU.
I'm watching it again. I'm having it a rewatch.
20 years of experience. This virus kills you slowly, methodically, and without mercy.
I'm a registered nurse, and I think the COVID vaccine is very important because it prevents infection, and not just for us, and for our families.
We've all been at home for the better part of a year, and we have to make some tough decisions about our health and how we're going to interact with each other in the future.
Why am I skeptical? Well, there's been a lot of misinformation. This COVID thing has been very political. I'm not anti-vaccination. I'm just more skeptical about the COVID vaccination.
I feel like it's not safe yet. There hasn't been enough testing done on this vaccine, and I don't think that it's a one-size-fits-all.
I'm not for the COVID vaccine because the evidence doesn't add up to that being necessary to survive.
That's not even political, though. I mean, it kind of is political, but...
And it's been a side of death and sadness and depression, and I don't believe that's the whole truth.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a registered nurse for 2 years, and I'm excited to be here and extremely nervous.
My name is Thomas Yadegar. I'm a critical care physician, and I supervise a team of 20 physicians. And on a normal day, we take care of about 120 patients in the hospital and about 40 to 50 patients in the ICU.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I am a teacher. I've been teaching for 16 years, and I'm just very excited to be here.
Hi, my name's Siaka Massaquoi, and just an individual that loves this life and wants to just see the best for everybody in it.
Hello, my name is Percy. I'm an actor and podcaster, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I am a stay-at-home mom. I have a 4-year-old. I'm definitely not here to change anyone's mind, but just to share my own personal experience and my views on things.
Oof, that's not a good start.
Have my pro-COVID vaccine folks.
That is not a good start.
And my skeptics on the right.
Oof,
the first
that is tough.
Is COVID-19 scares me. Please come forward if you agree with the statement.
Yeah, so for
gonna
me,
say yes.
I have asthma. I was born with it, which is why I keep myself isolated. I just don't want to put myself in a position where I got to call my mom and say, hey, come to California. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, for me, COVID with family members, friends who have gotten...
Guys, I was born in Canada. Okay, guys, I've had the flu and the colds my entire life. I've had a crazy amount, dude. The flu just scares me, and I think it should scare you too, dude. It's what it is. If it was, it's just the flu. Yeah, the flu is scary.
Sick.
And the story. That's how it is.
I'm just very concerned for my parents, my aunts, my cousins, everybody.
Yeah.
So, including myself.
Right.
I actually work with COVID patients since the very beginning, so I'm also scared that I can contact from my patients and I can give it to my parents.
I think the thing that scares me most about COVID is that it is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
A year ago when this started, the first patient in LA County came to our hospital. 13 people that were on a ski trip in Italy. And when I walked into the room to talk to him about it, what he told me kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah.
7 of them ended up getting hospitalized. 2 of them were on a respirator, were on blood pressure medicines, on ECMO, fighting for their lives. And these are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. That right off the bat caused me to call all my relatives and tell them, stay the hell home, be careful, hunker down. Despite being in cameras, I'm actually intensely private.
You already saw this, but I mean,
this is not something
just being dumb, so I think it's a good reminder.
But I started posting things on Facebook to alert people to the threats of what was coming our way, because this is no ordinary virus.
Okay, can we please have our disagreeers come and join us?
I thought I was going to be the only one.
I guess I would say it doesn't scare me in the same manner as I've heard from you guys, because I had it. I got it back in January before it was cool.
I'm gonna move away.
Yeah, I'm
Good one,
now,
dude.
right? My 74-year-old mom who came to visit had it. My 6-year-old godson, my 3-year-old godson, my 40-year-old best friend, 32-year-old roommate. The kids went through like this. My mom, 11 days. It was weird for her, but she's healthy as hell. You know, and that's my own personal story, and then I have not changed my lifestyle.
So why is this guy giving his
If anything,
anecdotes?
I've gone out more. I've been going to rallies since June, and I've been around multiple people of all ages, consistently hugged, hung out with every Saturday for 6-7 months. Nothing. But yet I'm only being told one side of the story.
Well, for me, it's not really a
Guys, I feel like this guy's thinking that his 3 anecdotes are gonna bust science right open, dude. Fuck science. Dude,
fear.
his mom is healthy and she survived.
Because
Oh.
I grew up undocumented, so
dude, come on, man.
There's a lot of other
This
things
is
that
troll,
I grew up
dude.
fearing, cops being one of those. And COVID, you know, it got my grandmother, it got my aunt.
Always think he's
my
right. It's an
uncle.
anecdote.
My aunt and uncle did pass away in Mexico. It got a handful of my friends. But to say that I'm afraid of it and to like change my life and stay home and then feed that to my 4-year-old, that's not the way that I have chosen to live.
Wait, she said what now?
It got my aunt, my uncle. You know, it got my grandmother, it got my aunt, my uncle. My aunt and uncle did pass away in Mexico.
Wait, they all died?
It got a handful of my friends. But to say that I'm afraid of it and to like change my life and stay home and then feed that to my 4-year-old, that's not the way that I have chosen to live. Because I do agree that fear in itself can cause so much stress. It can lower your immune system, you know, and it can just put your mind in such a state of panic and trauma that I feel like that in itself can be so much more detrimental in the long run.
I think that's my big issue with it, because I just, after this thing, then what? When we're too afraid to come up to strangers.
Yeah.
Like, how are we supposed to
I mean,
get through
I
our
think
stuff?
you should be aware. I don't think it's ever good to, you know, to cause mass fear on the population. But I think, you know, knowledge.
If she's gonna stay at home and not put anybody at risk, and she has these takes, whatever, and she wants to chill out, dude, it's dumb, but it doesn't affect anybody. It doesn't impede on anybody. So fair enough, guys. It's kind of hard for me to be against somebody like that, because if they're against it and they're not impeding on anybody, I mean,
Is power.
Yep.
So you
Okay.
have to be able to understand what's going on around you and adapt around you.
What I've had to do with my students is to make them aware of
About her
it
kid, though?
being
Yeah, you're right.
okay. Have you gone outside today? Did you go get some fresh air? Okay, let's do some exercise. Do a plank competition in the house. At least something that's active, because they are so recluse, and that's the part that is concerning.
Yeah, within the first few weeks, one of my doctors asked me to see a patient. She'd been into the emergency room 3 times within a week. She was convinced she had COVID. And
I'm
she had
brainwashed.
some of the symptoms. She had chest tightness, shortness of breath,
well,
and they were going to do a
better be brainwashed than be brain dead, to be
4th
honest.
test. Her 3 previous ones were all negative. So I walked in, and I'm like, "Do you have any kids?" She's like, "Yeah, I have a 10-month-old, but he's fine. Don't worry about him." I'm like, "What do you mean he's fine? Don't worry about him?" She's like, "I use Clorox. I just make sure that this virus doesn't come anywhere around." I'm like, "What about with your groceries?" She's like, "My groceries, I use bleach on them."
Oh, no.
I told her, I'm like, "You know, I looked at your CAT scan. You don't have COVID, but you have a chemical pneumonitis.
Yes.
From all this bleach, from all these chemicals that you have introduced, you just put yourself in harm." And I'm like, "Go home, do what you normally do in terms of cleaning. Wash your hands." You know, some of the stuff that was coming out in the first few weeks,
Yeah.
it lingers in the air for 3 hours. It lasts on surfaces for 3 days. And I'm looking at the TV and I'm telling my wife, I'm like,
You ever watch that now?
"This is nonsense.
Yeah.
What? This is a respiratory virus."
I just feel like it has been blown to a proportion that it doesn't need to be. Yes, be safe, be cautious, but you don't have to run around, you know, bleaching your vegetables. Like, you know, what is that doing? I would just say, like, take it seriously. Don't wait until your mom or your grandmother's in the hospital to say, "Oh, you know, take COVID seriously."
Yes, how is it outdated? Yes, it's not outdated. How would this be outdated? It's a discussion.
And it's not getting us nowhere.
Everyone should get a COVID-19 vaccine.
I'm all for it, and I would say no. Yes, Guys, I'm all for it, chat. And guys, everyone, it's a broad term. You just, I mean.
Come forward if you disagree.
Shot the move.
I don't think
I don't
everybody
like
should
blankets
get it
and like that, or
because
like
people who are allergic to vaccines obviously shouldn't get the vaccine, but I feel like I can see how much COVID can affect family members, and I see like my grandma actually passed away with COVID. She was in a nursing home. That's how she got it. And I feel like herd immunity, I think it could give us back to normal life.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting a vaccine is incredibly individual choice.
Right.
So we all have our own medical history. We all have our own medical experiences, how we reacted to vaccines. That being said, I don't think at this point we're going to eradicate COVID-19 with a vaccine. But that doesn't mean that vaccine's not critically important. And the people who should be getting it, they should
some of the fact still stands though.
get the vaccine. I myself did get the vaccine.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all because, again, everyone's body is so different that what might work for you might kill me and vice versa. And so for me, I feel like that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. I actually developed allergies due to vaccines as a kid, and I would break out in hives. It would last, anywhere between
Guys, what'd you say? Guys, it's not even loud. What'd you say?
me and vice versa.
What'd you say?
Everyone's body is so different that what might work for you might kill me and vice versa. And so for me, I feel like that's not a risk that I'm willing to take.
Okay, that's just a dumb take though.
I actually developed allergies due to vaccines as a kid, and I would break out in hives. It would last, anywhere between 3 days
Chat,
to like.
is that something that happens, chat? Do you develop allergies from vaccines? Is that like a fact, or is that
2 weeks, and the doctors throughout like 20 years of my life could never figure it out. It definitely does something
It's
to you
rare.
mentally when you go into an ER and you're in this desperate need for help, and they would just kind of look at me and go like, okay, well, we'll just give you Benadryl and you can go home. It wasn't until I became an adult. I worked for several families as a babysitter, and they all happened to be physicians. And some of them talked to me about vaccine injuries. It clicked, because the second that I
Adverse
started
event?
making my own medical decisions, that's when all of the side effects just kind of went away.
That's unfortunate because you didn't get the care that you should have gotten. Like, I didn't hear or know about vaccine injury until I started really working in health care and public health. And I have friends who have autoimmune issues, and they have big allergic reactions to certain things. And so they have a huge concern about, of course, this vaccine, COVID vaccine, because, what could happen.
The one thing I would ask you though, Erica, is because you have had family members that died.
Yeah.
So you would trust getting the disease versus the vaccine? The vaccine scares you that much that you would rather get the...
Like, let's say if you had COVID,
Really?
I would feel so much more comfortable shaking your hand and getting COVID through you and build the antibodies for it than I would to trust the vaccine. I remember the last episode I had, I was in my closet, and this is when I knew it was really bad because my thoughts were getting really dark, to where I visualized myself cutting off each hive. So would I risk going back?
Guys, I have a question, chat. Guys, guys, this is not a take, this is a question, chat. If you think about it, chat, let's say people always use the argument, dude, 99.7% survival rate of COVID, right? Right? What is the survival rate of the vaccine itself then? Wouldn't that be higher? Like 99.99999? Wouldn't that just be literally higher? So
Back there again.
is that like is it an argument on its own?
Wouldn't.
I think, again, with your experience of having the vaccines, it totally makes sense. But my recommendation would be, please don't get it naturally. Do everything you can to even prevent yourself from getting it. And the one thing that you guys haven't seen, unfortunately, I think Jacqueline and I have seen it, the death that comes with COVID, it's not a romantic death. It's not noble. It's a miserable, gruesome death.
What source and that survival rate is with the dude? I think there's been like 2 people over there or some shit. I don't even.
And all you can do, not for...
What do you say?
The death that comes with COVID, it's not a romantic death. It's not noble. It's a miserable, gruesome death. And all you can do, not for hours, but for days and weeks, is to sit there and tell every single person that comes into your room, help me, I can't breathe, for weeks and weeks. This virus pushes you so far beyond your limit that you give up. You give up on the one thing that I can't give you medication for. Right. Hope. You give up hope. And your soul gives up the will to live, the will to fight. And I think that's the hardest part to explain to people. That
yeah, chat's full of edgelords, man. It's just so weird, dude.
But the problem is this virus.
It doesn't stop you from fucking spreading it, motherfucker. I get it. But if you're gonna get it from a spread, would you rather fucking have a high chance of dying, or would you rather have a lower chance of what the fuck is wrong with you? This is like a non-argument.
To spread. And when it spreads, it lands on someone named Daniel, who at 59 loses his life and doesn't get to attend his daughter's wedding, doesn't get to walk her down the aisle. It lands on someone, Evaristo, who's a 61-year-old guy, healthy. His only problem was he went to work at Whole Foods and he checked people's temperature. And when he finally died, his thigh was the size of my wrist. No matter what I did, I couldn't stop it. I couldn't help him. And I've had patients where they had it and, they're like, well, I had it, it wasn't bad. And they went to see their relative. And their relative ends up, on life support. So I think that's why it's so important to get vaccinated. It's not for yourself. It's for the people that you don't know, but you're going to come into contact with, and you're going to help this virus spread.
But I'm just confused why chat says propaganda when it's people that are for vaccines. But
vaccination.
How would it be propaganda when it's on the opposite side? How does that not go both ways?
Actually, both the Pfizer and the Moderna are very successful at.
It was 94%.
Can you still get it? Yes, I have had patients that have had their series of vaccines, and even 2 weeks later, they still get the virus. But even when you get it, it's not as severe. You don't need to get hospitalized. And again, if we can break the cycle where there's less people for this virus to spread, that's what we're looking for in the vaccination.
So I guess with me on that, if we're talking about the mortality rate,
I think it's a little outdated. Some of these facts are not all.
For who were dying, the survival rate is 99.97.
The death rate is higher than 0.3. It's 1 to 2% actually. The death rate.
1 to 2%. So if the survival rate is 99.97, how is the death rate?
It's not 99.97. Case fatality rates are about in states is about 1%.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was even a percentage point. What doesn't add up is to take that foreign entity that has so many other things that can affect my body in a negative way that I don't need to put in myself. For what I'm looking at is the percentage of those that when they do get it, this is who may go.
So I see COVID patients.
He said what? He said the man said what?
It has so many other things that can affect my body in a negative way that I don't need to put in myself. For what I'm looking at is the percentage of those that when they do get it, this is who may go.
So I see COVID patients every day at work. Surviving is different from thriving. I see patients all the time that can't even breathe on their own. The rest of their life, they have to be on oxygen. Sure, they didn't die, but now they can't walk up the stairs without feeling shortness of breath.
How many is that?
It's about 30%, and those are not even hospitalized patients. So even people who had mild illness, they develop long haulers.
30%?
Yeah, up to 30%.
I saw all the different age ranges in my house, and nobody has anything after.
Affects people in different ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not to take away like, man, that's terrible. But what it can do adversely to me and to others.
It's just says it. It's not being against vaccines. It's about they being obligatory, or you have no right to a job, health, education. Dude, you need to understand that some places are private. People, right? It's like why are you? If you want to take risks or you want to make decisions that you take on your own as a person, you make voluntary choices. And people say, hey man, if you make that choice, we don't want to be around you, whatever. How can you be mad about that? Whatever that is, whatever that is. Let's say some store says it can only come through if you're wearing a blue hat, right? You're gonna go there without a hat and be like, yo, dude, what the fuck? I can't be here, dude. Like, well, dude, motherfucker, you can't be without a hat. It is what it is. Why are you molding it? Why are you molding about that? I don't get it. These guys made the decision. They made the decision to get vaccinated. They say, if you're not vaxxed, you can't come in. And a story. They're 100% in their right to do so. And you being mad about that, you're just a moron. You're an idiot.
It's gonna be impossible
what the fuck is wrong with you?
To approach it from your perspective, because I'm not seeing those patients, right? all the things you guys are saying.
It's not discrimination. You make a choice. You purposefully make a choice voluntarily.
I don't believe it's false at all. That's your experience.
Right.
But I also know it's like I told you, I'm going out week in and week out, seeing those old people for 6-7 months, and we're laughing, partying, dancing together consistently. I can't just shut that off and go, well, the Times said this, and then CNN said this, and only the people in the front lines right when those are dying said this, so that means that's the only truth. I mean, you can hear the frustration.
You know, it's just a lot of political nonsense going on.
Incorrect. Guys, I don't think they're forcing it. Guys, I think you can still go get, everything that is essential for you to live and thrive, like food, like access to health, medicine. They don't ask you for a Vax card. If you go to the restaurant, they ask you for Vax cards. That's the thing that they make. Guys, they don't ask you for a Vax card at the fucking pharmacy or at the grocery store. They don't. I don't think they're allowed to. The basic necessities, they don't ask you about it. It's not a take. That's how it works. It's literally the laws, motherfucker. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Could be wrong though. If a restaurant, which is a private entity, they're on their own. It's like you or me. It's like if you said, guys, I don't want anybody in my house that yells or some shit. Guys, it's a private property. They're allowed to do whatever they want. They could say you can only come in if you're doing a handstand, and you'd be forced to fucking. That's it. It's the rules, motherfucker. That's end of
They're
story.
not telling us what the vaccine is made out of.
Do a handstand.
They're not
Fuck it.
telling us
Do
the
a
side effects.
handstand.
We're hearing about it on Twitter.
Fuck, man.
People, sitting in bed, can't get out because they got their body hurt. So for me, it's just like, what is the line about? What's the political
What about
agenda
jobs?
about?
Same thing for jobs, motherfucker. If the job says you have to be vaxxed, find another job. Motherfucker, if you make a choice, I'm not getting vaxxed, find another job, motherfucker. How is that their fault?
It makes you not.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. And I think what's always attracted me to medicine, you have to make your decisions based on facts. Not fear, not speculation, not political agendas. But the
How is
truth
that a
of it
bad
was,
take?
when this started in March, a lot of my friends started asking me because they said, oh, there's going to be a vaccine. And I'm like, there's going to be a vaccine? It's going to take at least 2 years.
Yep.
The earliest that we had developed a vaccine before was 4 years. But
Guys,
then in the summer,
Guys, if you're sick and contagious, okay, some jobs, if not most jobs, they'll let you not come in. If it's a job that you're around people, right? If you're infectious and you are sick, some job will tell you not to come in. How is that any different?
summertime, it actually went through phase 1 and phase 2. And then it went into started getting phase 3. And the reason why it was actually able to get done within a year period is because, one, they cut all the red tape, because there's a lot of bureaucracy. But then there was also a tremendous amount of collaboration between countries. So I posted when I got my vaccine in December. And some of my friends called me and they're like, you said it wasn't going to be available. And you said also, when it becomes available, you're going to wait 3 to 6 months to get it. What made you change your mind? I said, listen, over this past year, I have seen what this virus can do to people.
The reason why you don't know the side effects is because it is a not fully FDA approved vaccination, right? You're putting your faith into something because you know and have trusted a variety of other vaccinations over the course of the years. And you know and you trust the steps and the stages that these different companies went through in order to eliminate a virus that is running rampant over the world.
I think one of the things that really hasn't been publicized is the quote-unquote side effects. The vaccine, the Pfizer and the Moderna, are 2 shots. So the first shot is just to get your immune system kind of used to it, and the second shot is a booster. So the symptoms that you get, the headache, the body aches, the low-grade fever, that's actually not a side effect. That's your immune system working, and they go away. I understand that you had a horrible response and it was much more severe, but for the vast majority of people, we've already vaccinated over 100 million people across the globe. So I think if there was anything more serious, it would have come out.
Well, then I'm sure everyone's seen videos, and there are people who are saying, I'm a nurse.
That was a bait. I was trying to bait
the side of their face is flat, or they're shaking all day. When you see and you look up and you're online and that information, that stuff gets censored and taken off YouTube, taken off Instagram, taken off Facebook. Like it raises that. If you look at like Tuskegee experiment, they sat there and shot up a bunch of black men with tuberculosis or with syphilis. Sorry, they didn't say anything, and they've been doing this consistently. We can talk about like
smallpox blankets,
right? And it's like we've seen what they've done. And then when you see people get censored for having a different opinion on this stuff over the last 10 months, it makes it that much harder that when they say take the vaccination, I'll be damned to listen to them. I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm not saying you're a liar, but I'm like, you're also saying the same thing. The same people who I've seen
It's not entirely a fair
show
point,
us
though.
get shot on
Fake
TV
news
like
is dangerous.
It's a sport.
Right.
Like, what is that doing to the psyche of our country?
guys, you guys gonna say Trump shit and memes and shit. You gonna say jokes, dude. But guys, misinformation, it's dangerous. It spreads at insane rates, and it's dangerous, dude.
It's still
I'm not for
coming from these
censorship,
people
but
or from a group that you go,
You don't have confidence in
yeah,
them.
you know?
And I think that's the biggest issue is the lack of transparency and trust, right? I don't think they're doing it anymore, but remember they came out and it was like, oh, we'll pay people $1,500 to take the vaccine. But isn't this the same government that every time we need a stimulus check, they can't come up with a deal, but they're willing to pay for it? Again, it just looks fishy. It smells fishy. They're not telling us anything. Can I ask you a question? So let's say everybody got the vaccine.
I know it's fake.
What happens?
I think the best you could do is try to is trust the science. Otherwise, trust what? Otherwise, it's do the opposite and trust anecdotes and whatever. I guess
go back to work, go back
you have to
to
pick and
gyms,
choose,
go back
motherfucker.
to
You can't
school.
just be.
Unless the vaccine works 100%, if we all take it, I mean, what happens? Like, do we go back to normal? Do we still gotta wear the face mask and social distance?
Well, to continue to wear masks because there are people that aren't going to be vaccinated. And there are people that are going to continue to spread COVID-19 because that's just what viruses do. They spread. And we're not going back to normal. We're going to go to some new variation. We're going to have our own variant of normalcy. And we're creating those things right now as we do the process and opening back up. I know that my district is planning to do soft open. You still have to be aware, though, that these kids, they don't have a vaccine. So, my students are coming back into the classroom. Are they going to be passing it to each other? Because guess what? A lot of them have had COVID over this break.
You asked a really good question. This is like, if everyone in America gets vaccinated, does things go back to normal? And I think the honest truth is, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. Now, this one, the mortality rate is like 1% to 2%, maybe a little bit lower. But what if the variants come up to 10%, 15%? Now, that's a game changer. What if it gets to be like Ebola, where it kills 40% of the people? This virus is just so tricky, so elusive, it just changes so much. This is an evolving pandemic. It's like nothing that we had ever seen before. I think they should just be honest.
This has actually fallen into anti-vaxxer entities. It's actually
this is what you
kind of
need
incredible.
to do so we can open the schools. Just be honest.
The COVID-19 restrictions have been necessary.
But I still can't hear very much in my headphones, and I have no idea why. I don't know if anybody has a fix for it.
I mean, I guess.
Peer pressure, huh?
I think it has been necessary. When we look at how it's passed around, right, the gym. I love the gym. I used to live in the gym. And I know there's a chance that people don't wipe off after their equipment. People don't wash their hands in the bathroom. So I think the restrictions have...
Guys, some of you guys make good arguments. The lies from the government are many. I get it. The lies from whatever are many. I get it. You're right. People in science are wrong sometimes. I get it. There's much more fucking idiot takes on fucking Facebook, motherfucker. Dude, believe it or not, there's a lot of lies in there. But there's also lies on Facebook and some dog shit and misinformation. Dude,
have been necessary because
pick your
if we
poison.
didn't
Holy
close down,
shit.
people would still be at the beaches having a good old time. We needed some type of structure to make us do it because if the government just said, it's up to you to stay home, people don't even do it now. And I mean, if we get another shutdown, it might be necessary, who knows, but I think for the time being, it has helped to slow the spread of COVID.
In regards to the shutdown for my students, it's put the
chat, guys, I'll skip the rest of it, chat. Guys, we already watched it. It's fine. Well, guys, I'll skip the rest of it. Okay, chat, guys.